Comrade Gene, are you ready?
Hey.
That sounds ready. Unrelenting 84, the level of excitement in your voice is a bit concerning. Were you up all night playing Starfield again?
You know, we just had a podcast yesterday. I don't know why we're doing one again today.
We do them daily so people get their fill.
It sure feels like it because I've barely gotten any progress through in this game.
Oh, well, see, that means it's a good game because you don't want a game that you can just blow right on through, right?
Yeah, let's talk about the game. Yes.
Here's the interesting thing. I don't play games, and in the past, a little bit, especially after the eyes blew out, not much. So it's not something that I'm normally looking for information on, but my feed that both Apple and Google seem to think I want to read, Starfield is everywhere. I mean, this thing like taking over the world. I saw
it is.
Adam Savage from the Mythbusters physically built a ship out of the game.
Yes.
This is insanity. Why is this game different than everything else? Why is this so much more popular now?
Well, first of all, it comes from one of the major publishers. A company that's been around forever, Bethesda Software. You've even heard of them, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a big thing, which means big money and good quality. The marketing budget is substantial for this. Adam Savage got paid to build that ship.
Ooh, so this is a marketing 101. They're actually putting money into it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So they are spending the bucks, but they also did a very good job, I think, ahead of time, kind of priming the pump, getting people excited about it. But here's the coolest thing, as far as I'm concerned, after playing Star Citizen, which I was raving about, which still is not released.
Right, still in alpha. Very alpha.
I know. And Star Citizen it truly is alpha because there's a lot of bugs. It crashes. This thing, holy shit, I had like one crash in 40 hours of gameplay.
So it was ready to go when they actually shipped it.
Totally done. Yeah. I mean, this is probably one of the least buggy game releases that I've played in years.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Which will keep people that jump on board early. It'll keep you on board rather than, I can't put up with this. Every time a good part comes up, it crashes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, and the one crash that did happen kind of saved my ass.
Well, see, there you go. This is kind of like the kid turning over the Monopoly board when they realize they've lost. He's like, I've had enough.
This is stupid.
Right.
Exactly.
Never did that. No, would never do that.
No. I've seen cartoons do that. Yes.
But it's living up to the hype then.
I think so. I think some people were... See, here's what happens with any software product, but especially with games, is that if the PR is good, if they're doing a good job teasing it, a lot of people start building up assumptions in their heads. And sometimes those assumptions are fully unjustified and are just shit people are creating out of thin air in their own heads. And so there are a certain group of people that are disappointed with this game because they were assuming that certain things were going to happen, which no one ever said were going to happen. And so there is a small backlash of folks that are like, oh, this is bullshit. This is not what we were well, no, it is exactly what we were told. And it's better, I think.
Right, because you don't want to overhype a game, because if you overhype a game, that's just as bad. If you set the expectations too high, as with anything else, if your expectations going in, if you go into a little hole-in-the-wall restaurant that you're not expecting much from and you get a really good meal, you're like, wow.
Yeah, there's a Chinese place that I found here recently called Asia. Very original.
I was like, what do they have? Asian food by any chance?
Yeah, exactly. And they seem to have gotten stuck in like 2005, which is incredible. And what I mean by that is their food tastes exactly like Chinese food that I remember used to taste like. And their prices are exactly what they were in 2005.
Well, that part's interesting.
Uh-huh. So when you get let's say General Tso's chicken there, guess how much that costs?
$12.99.
$9.95.
No way.
Yeah.
And everybody, you can check off on your bingo card, talked about food.
Uh-huh. Talked about video games and food. First two topics.
Did you take your quercetin before you had the meal so we can...
Yeah, exactly. Did you... one more. Guess how much an egg roll is?
Wow. If the meals are that price, they can't be $1.
$1.50.
$1.50. Wow.
Yeah.
Your new favorite restaurant, no doubt.
By the way, that $9.95, the General Tso's chicken,
you had enough to take home.
But it includes a soup, either egg drop or sweet and sour soup.
Oh, I love. Well, what I love not is the sweet and sour, but it's the takeoff that is the hot and sour soup.
Yeah, hot and sour. Sorry, that's the one I meant. Yeah, hot and sour.
That
soup.
was the place that was next door to the Radio Shack that I worked at. The hot and sour soup was to die for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things. That was the place that I really started getting, until I was in there every day because it was literally next door. But,
right.
The first time we were like, oh, extra hot. And they're like, extra hot? Like, are you sure? White Devil, you want extra hot? And it's like, yep.
White Devil.
So when I ordered it again, it was like, okay, I guess you do like it hot. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the hot and sour soup is excellent.
It is. So I love going through a time warp to order food. It's it makes it for a much cheaper expense.
It's like, what's the explanation here? Is this a money laundering operation where
there's no other place I've seen? Yeah, probably is. There's no other place I've seen. It's the Chinese Communist Party outlet.
Oh, well, that's cool.
But there's no other Chinese restaurant here in Austin that can touch that.
Yeah, in Austin, I'm guessing most of those are about double or triple the price.
Yeah. You're like under $20 for General Tso's chicken is super rare. You're just not going to find it. And it's not like that's the only thing I get people. It's just that I'm using that as an example.
Do you get the Mongolian beef?
I've gotten their Mongolian beef. I've eaten there a bunch of times. Yeah, I've gotten their Mongolian beef there. I've gotten like a stir fry kind of thing there. I mean, it's all good. And the portions are pretty damn generous given that they're so cheap.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like the place that I was in all the time. You just start getting to the point where it's like, what do you recommend? Just give me whatever's good. And then you get some really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the not on the menu stuff.
Yes. That's usually the best stuff.
Like, oh, we can make this for you.
There was a restaurant in St. Paul, Minnesota that I used to go to. That was a Russian place. And it's called Moscow on the Hill.
Was it on a hill?
It was on a hill.
Because otherwise it would be ironic.
Yes. And it was on a hill overlooking the Capitol. And I was in there. I was pretty much a regular. I was in there every Friday for weeks and weeks. And it got to a point where I would stay till closing and then have a meal with the staff.
Nothing untoward going about this either.
What, in the back room, having the meal with the staff after restaurant shuts down? Nothing whatsoever.
Right. Bunch of crazy Russians.
That is not the way that mob usually operates at all.
Were there actually Russians making the food or just a bunch of Mexicans? Because that's usually the way it works in any kitchen in America.
Yeah. No, it's all Russian.
See, now that also would send up red flags for me that this is some kind of different operation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a pretty good place. Minneapolis, St. Paul, that whole area. I think there was a total of 5 different Russian restaurants. And so when I moved to Dallas and realized there's only 2, I was like, well, really? What the hell? It's a bigger city and there's less food options. Then I moved to Austin and there's 1.
Ooh.
And that one shut down in the first week of this special military operation.
Oh, right.
So
right.
It was kind of like, oh my God.
That was the one that rebranded as a Ukrainian restaurant very quickly.
They literally, so that as soon as that started, they took down the word Russian. So it used to be Russian house. It just became house. And
wait, they didn't even come up with something else to put before house?
It was just house. And then it may have been the first month. I'm maybe exaggerating a tad that it was a week, but it was a very short amount of time after the name change that they just closed down. They survived COVID. They could not survive the liberal attitudes.
Well, no, because liberals, if you're associated, which still makes 0 sense to me, but that's because the liberal attitude is to judge people upon their genetics, nothing more.
The recent news here, I posted on NAS, the American Nazi Party has officially endorsed Joe Biden.
Well, I mean, somebody had to.
It sounds like a South Park joke or something, but no, they've put out a PR. There's a statement, and it was for his proper handling of the Ukraine situation.
The very proper handling, sending all the money to the people that they like.
To the Nazis, exactly.
To the most corrupt country in that region.
The largest, most corrupt country. I think some of the smaller ones may be just as corrupt, but they're smaller and they're less consequential.
That makes sense.
But certainly the one that the majority of the Americans were using for money laundering. Yes.
Well, right, because that was the country that was in the middle of all the Biden and Hillary stuff. I mean, if Hillary had to get a Raspberry Pi to put her messages through, it was sitting somewhere in Ukraine for some reason.
Funny. Funny how that works.
Yeah, it's like,
now,
why? Why there?
If it was Cyprus that had a revolution, then it'd definitely be the Russians, because that's where they launder their money.
Hey, everybody needs a good place to launder their money.
And they all have to be close to the Middle East.
We don't do it here on the Unrelenting podcast.
No, we just don't have money. So,
well, that takes care of the laundering. You don't have to clean it if you don't have it.
Exactly. So what have you been up
to? Let's see. I was diagnosing issues with my modem.
Your modem?
Yeah, the gateway.
The cable modem, or you have fiber?
No, it's cable through Xfinity. And it started doing something that I've read about for years, other people having the similar issue, that it's rebooting itself every morning it's usually right around 4 a.m., but sometimes it's a little earlier.
That's what I set it up for.
Sometimes it's a little bit later.
It's safer. Yeah.
Much safer to reboot at that time.
Because you shouldn't be online.
Right. But, we're online all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
But you got to reboot.
Got to reboot, baby.
I mean, yeah, it's the issue I had, if you remember, which was much more cryptic, it was weirder, is that I actually had set up my modem
to reboot. Yeah.
Which was triggering a reboot of my PC. That's the part I didn't understand. Why the hell is the PC rebooted every morning?
Russian hackers?
And it clearly couldn't be Microsoft updates being uploaded every night, right?
No, of course not.
That should happen once a week.
I mean, the Russian hackers, to be fair, give you updates way more than once a week.
There are no Russian hackers.
There are no.
They don't exist. It's a myth. It's a myth created by American parents to scare their children.
Now, there's a nice cold opener right there. There are no Russian hackers. But Xfinity, they claim that they never heard of this happening. Never, ever. And it's not something that used to happen, because I'm one of the idiots that has come to use the little talking tube from Amazon as a white noise machine.
Yeah.
So every morning at right about 4 o'clock now, that stops because I guess there's not enough memory in the little talking tube to download the MP3 of Rain or whatever you got going on. And it has to constantly stream that.
Mm-hmm.
So when the connection drops, then that drops. So that's the only reason I noticed it. And then I went and looked in the logs of the router, and then I contacted Xfinity, and they did all their usual diagnostic stuff. And they're like, well, we can send a tech. And it's like, well, why?
Mm-hmm.
The signal levels on the modem, everything are good. Nothing has changed. And if it was dropping randomly throughout the day, that would be one thing.
Yeah.
When it's doing it with regularity at the same time each day, that seems like something more on their end.
Yeah, it seems like more like somebody set something up like me.
That somebody set something up to
for the middle of the night,
reboot everything out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably just going to ask for a new gateway to see if that does anything.
Yeah, you can try that, but it could be on their end of the gateway.
That's my belief. But
have you looked at the logs on the modem itself?
This is the horrible thing with the Xfinity modem or gateway.
Yeah.
They don't show you the real logs. There's a few things you can see, but unlike owning your own device, this is the one place.
So you can buy, I used to have a cable modem.
Yes.
You can buy your own cable modem.
Yeah, I did for years.
Yeah.
Now I can buy one of these.
Yeah. But
then Comcast will charge me $50 more a month, and I'm only paying $50 a month if I want unlimited data.
They'll charge you more?
Yeah. This is the scam. This is let me tell you, Xfinity, I'm down to $50 a month for gigabit internet as the people are mowing the lawn right outside, if anybody hears that. But
no, the mic is working.
It's beautiful. The mic and the noise gate and everything else.
All right, we're checking off boxes on our bingo card here.
You have to.
So did you see?
But I'm just going to say the reason I'm only paying $50 for this $130 normally like retail level of Xfinity service was for you get like $10 off if you set it up for them to take it right out of your credit card every month automatically.
Yep.
But there was the thing, I think we went over it, where if you get here, we'll give you a free phone. And if you add a new line, we'll give you $30 a month off your internet bill for 2 years.
Yeah.
So you're going to give me a free phone, the new line, which costs $0 because it's a shared thing. So that's how we're down to $50, which now I'm like, well, maybe you get what you pay for, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
Interesting. Yeah. So I was going to say that you mentioned the microphone. I mentioned the microphone not picking up the outside noise. And did you see CSB was poking fun at the Xbox hostess, Megan, with the wrong spelling of Megyn Kelly?
Megyn, yeah. What she have a problem because she's using?
No, he was making fun of the fact that her microphone is like a foot away from her mouth.
And she's using the Rogan mic, correct?
She's using an SMB7, yeah.
Yes.
SM7B, yeah.
The Rogan mic, as everybody knows it as. Yes, the Shure SM7B.
Sure. It was around for 50 years. Rogan was like 3 years old when it came out.
But this is not an uncommon thing, people using that microphone in that way, which you're not going to get the best sound. And a lot of times I wonder if they're mic'd elsewhere.
That's what he asked.
It's like, is it a boom? And then this is just there to make it look like a podcast. He may be right about that.
I don't know, man. I think it's just the preamp is turned up. That's all.
That could be. And she certainly has the money to have the audio equipment that can probably handle that, but you're still getting a lot of gain.
They all have the money. It doesn't mean that they're audiophiles.
Well, I understand. Or that they even know that microphone is meant for close quarters talking, not sitting far away. Although I say the same thing about the microphones we use. I have the RE20, you've got the RE320.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen the video when the late, great Rush Limbaugh was still around?
Yeah.
The video of him, and he used an RE20.
Yep.
He was sitting like 3 feet away from it.
Well, he was leaning in and out. I don't think he was consistently sitting 3 feet away from the mic, but he was a good foot away from the mic. But I also have photos, or I've seen photos of him
right on
where he's leaned in with his mouth right next to the mic. You got to remember one thing about Rush, though, is he was a very dynamic speaker. He spent his entire life behind a microphone. I think his average level of decibelage coming out of his mouth of dog biscuits was significantly higher than yours or mine.
I would believe that, although mine is fairly high. I have a decibel meter. We could do that test.
Yours is higher than mine, absolutely. I mean, I'm probably at the conversational level of speech. Right you're a little higher, but Rush was significantly higher.
Yes, I've moved to about a foot away from this microphone now, and you can definitely hear a difference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But also, I will say Rush had a studio that I'm betting
you also don't have a Bo Snerdley.
Well, that's true.
And he did. A guy that in real time can tweak shit.
Riding the faders, doing what you had to do.
Yeah.
That is a big help.
And also, he had a golden EIB microphone.
I know. And that was a beautiful microphone.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy has a company that does coatings. And I've been tempted to just bring this one over there and dip it in gold.
Coat it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you could probably, I think there are companies that do that. You could make a lot of money for people that really want.
If you're going to do actual gold, it's not cheap, dude.
Well, not if it's real gold, no.
No. I had, oh boy, this is going to really sound nerdy at this point. But
really?
There was a period.
It's not going to be the first time for you, Gene.
I know, right? It's a shocker. There was a period in time where having gold accessories on your car was considered cool.
Baller!
And so I had all the chrome done in 24 karat gold.
And then the car was stolen.
No, it actually wasn't. I'll take a sip here. But it looks very cheesy now, thinking back. But at the time, it was my favorite color combination, which people that have followed my video games know what that color combination is, which is white and gold. Which is the typical set of everything I have in video games, whether it's armor or guns or, spaceships.
So if you see a white and gold spaceship flying by in Starfield.
Say hello.
That's how you'll know.
Well, certainly in Star Citizen. Because in Starfield, it's a single-player game, so they're not too likely to see me flying by.
Well, not unless they're Russian hackers.
Well, yeah, hackers that have infiltrated the single-player game.
Right.
Yes.
They're good, man. They are good.
That they're so good, they're mythical.
How long do you think this game is going to engage you? Is this like one of these things that's like a 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months, 2-3 years, more?
For sure, a couple of months. Now, how long beyond that, I don't know. But the closest example I can think of something that kind of sucked me in like this was Red Dead Redemption, which is probably still the best storyline driven game, single player game ever made. It's and by the way, this one has got a very good storyline as well. I have now played this here. Let me check in real time. Gotta scroll up and see how much time it's been.
Yeah, and while you're checking that, Servo in the troll room says it's single player for now. I guess that is one of the ways they could eventually expand.
Yeah, I think this one is going to stay single player because if you listen to some of the developer talks about technology that they're using and the way that the landscapes and the cities other than the main 5 are generated on the fly, I don't think they could do this in multiplayer without rewriting a substantial portion of the game. Not saying it can't happen, it's just very unlikely to happen.
So what do you think the plus is for a single player game over multiplayer now? Which one's more enjoyable?
So it came out a week ago on Friday. So in the last week, I've played 95 hours.
So that's an average of like 12 hours a day. Are you doing anything else?
95 hours? Yeah, it's an average of
13 hours
over 16 hours a day.
Wow.
It's about 17 and a half hours a day.
When do you sleep, Gene? No wonder you're like...
I don't. I get about 3 hours of sleep a night right now.
You're like, hi, you want to do the show now?
Fucking podcast taken away from my video game playing. God damn it!
If it wasn't, you know, unhealthy it would be if it wasn't for this podcast.
Yeah. What?
It's the only thing keeping you from doing all these bad things. At least 2 hours a week.
probably is. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff.
That's why it's during this show, you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot I need food, so I should order that.
I know, right?
I forgot I needed this.
Fucking food. Well, it's mostly the drink that I'm ordering, not the food.
Do you have an Asian girl come and bring it over and raise it up so you can sip during the game? The
Uber drivers tend to be dudes. I don't know why.
Well, because there's reasoning for that. It's like safety. I mean, there are some.
Safety. Come on. It's a liberal city. It's super safe here as long as you step over the bumps.
Right. No, I like that the headline this morning was some politician from the Minneapolis area that was big into defunding the cops. I guess she was carjacked and beaten in front of her kids.
Nice.
Now she's all about finding these people and putting them in jail and prosecuting them. Like, really? No kidding.
She can do that by herself then?
I guess. That's the issue.
The police in Austin have started advising residents to use 311.
Yes, don't call us. Call somebody else.
Yeah, which is interesting because that is literally the experience I had. Because remember when I had like somebody steal money from me?
Yes. Well, yeah, that was the scam right out of they stole your ATM card.
Yeah, apparently. So I get the money back, so that's good news. So the banks took care of that. Took them forever to do it, but they finally got around to it. But yeah, that was I called the cops, and they said, "Yeah, call 311." And then when you call 311, it says everybody's busy here, but go ahead and get on our website. And when you go to the website for austinreportofcrime.com or something like that, go ahead and fill it out, and then we'll get back to you. So it's self-reporting. You fill out this website about the incident. It uses AI, incidentally, and they tell you that right on the website, to figure out what the hell happened to you. So you fill in all this information. At the end of the last question, which I love this question, is, are you filling out this report for insurance reasons, or do you actually need somebody to contact you?
Is this just because you need a case number?
Yeah, exactly. Because it tells you your case number will be auto-generated when you hit submit on the form. Make sure that you write that down for your insurance purposes. And I mean, like, they know that if they ask the question, they can probably avoid having to call back like 80% of the people.
Right. Because they just want to send it to their insurance.
Yeah. So this is police in a liberal city.
Or lack thereof.
They're trying to advise you to, well, I don't know how many cops Austin had. I'm really rooting for the state to take over Austin. They've threatened to do it at the last session. And they said that if Austin doesn't start acting like a responsible city and do things like approve a budget for its police, that the state will take care of paying for the police by unincorporating the city of Austin, firing the city council and the mayor, and having it become an administrative district, which is what Washington, D.C. is. It's where Nancy Pelosi is in charge of all the police.
And how did that work out again?
That was the threat. Well, we'll see if they do it in 2 years. They basically have the votes to do it. So it's just a question of do they want the annoyance of having to administrate Austin?
Well, it's just another case of the justice department in this country going downhill. And I can't blame the cops. Yeah. Well, it's George Soros getting all the DAs, and that is a big part of this.
$5 billion he spent on getting his DAs in office.
Because if you are a cop on the street and you see that every time you bring somebody in for shoplifting, they're never prosecuted, why even bring them in? Your job is useless if you're the person on the streets that sees person committing crime X and bringing them in. Now, if you know that crime X is never going to get prosecuted, why bring those people in? It's a waste of time.
Yeah, it's so cute how you think that cops care about these things.
I think some do. I think some don't.
No, they don't. No, what they care about is having authority.
I think that's an overgeneralization. I'm sure some do. I'm sure some are in their head Cartman long before Cartman even existed.
All cops are Cartman.
You will respect my authority. You will
respect my authority.
That's exactly it.
Guys, I'm getting home.
I'm going to play video games. I got the new Star Citizen game. Come on. Exactly how it works. I mean, the cops can be playing the Starfield right there on their laptop in their car.
They are.
Better than going out and looking for criminals, that's for sure. But
yeah.
Then we have this stuff, and I don't care whether this is true or not. The Danny Masterson case really annoys me on so many different levels. One, because it just shows that if you're a straight white guy and somebody claims you did something 20 years ago, you'll go to jail, where if they have video of you today, if the color of your skin is right, and they have video of you committing a violent crime, don't really want to prosecute that. I don't understand how we have any he said, she said crime from 20 years ago where somebody's doing bullshit. 30 years.
That is made up shit, man. Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
30 years in prison for an alleged crime.
Because somebody said you did something 20 years ago. And here's the other thing.
Look at the way this dude looked back then. He's this little skinny, short punk.
Yeah.
Incapable of raping anybody.
This is because money and fame. Money and fame, money and fame. And any female, or male, that wants to claim rape then says, well, I kept dating him, of course. It's like, wait, no, you don't get to do that. You do not get to be,
in his Wikipedia
he raped me.
Entry, the rape conviction is over half his page. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
But you don't get to say that somebody committed a violent act against me, but then we kept dating for another year. And now I'm saying this happened 20 years later. That is just, I said, and again, maybe he did it. I don't know with either one of these, but I said with the Cosby thing was a really good litmus test for how far you could get away with a he said, she said this far down the road.
I think that it's highly likely that the guy was a narcissist and that he was, in the conventional sense, skeevy or sleazy. Right?
Yeah, that I would agree.
But I really highly doubt that there was what would traditionally, back when you and I were learning these words, meant the word rape.
Right.
Rape is not regret.
Right, afterwards.
Rape is not having sex with somebody and then realizing that he's slimy and therefore he must have raped me because, boy, if I actually agree to having sex with this dude, especially kinky sex,
repeatedly,
it makes me look bad.
Right.
Therefore, he must have forced me without my consent.
And this is bullshit, the story, man. Yes.
This is the kind of shit that leads to Islam.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it's the country is almost not worth saving at this point. It's literally going down the toilet so fast that it's more practical to start looking for alternatives than it is trying to do something.
But, at this point, you ask the question, what is a defense for these kind of allegations? And the answer is there is none.
There is none. No, the defense is being a black gay person.
Right. And then you're fine. You're perfectly good. We'll never put you in jail for nothing.
Even a gay straight guy can still go to jail.
Oh, yeah. Guys are in the crosshairs. And I know, I'm a guy, so I probably feel that way.
Well, that's why you don't leave the house. That's a good defense.
Right.
Well, sir, I never left my house.
I was home. See, right here. You're tracking me.
God knows, being a straight, tall, white dude, you'd just be out there raping nonstop.
Right. Exactly. It would be horrible.
Yeah.
Beyond the loose.
It's really for your own good that you're kept, muzzled indoors.
Because there is no defense for this. And all three women were part of the Church of Scientology, which I find also to be somewhat interesting.
Okay. Oh, that should have just been thrown right out the window, because the Church of Scientology has a certain criteria of individual with a diminished mental capacity that joins. God, the South Park did such a great episode on that, on the Scientology one many years ago. So you're talking about people that are highly susceptible to external, what's the phrase? Suggestions,
yes.
Basically.
Mind fucking.
When somebody says, "Oh, you didn't really feel good about that relationship with him, did you?" No, it sucked. Well, you know, that was non-consensual. Technically, he raped you.
Right.
Yes, that's it. He raped me. You know, that's the kind of shit you end up with, because these people are, and obviously I'm generalizing, there are people that are Scientologists that are born into it that I'm sure would love to get out of it if they knew better. But people that actually join Scientology, yeah, you know, they're not all there. You gotta screw loose.
Yeah, you're looking for something that is out there in the ether.
It's the same people that join Amway.
Well, there's a reason why the law has a statute of limitation on so many things.
Most crimes.
Because the further away you get from something, the harder it is to have any kind of proof.
Yeah.
And things that happen behind closed doors, these are the hardest things to try to prosecute, because you have one person saying one thing, you have one person saying something totally different. And then the question becomes, who do you believe? And this is fine for civil stuff, but when it comes to doing hard time, criminal cases, usually there's a reason why from even the most heinous murders, you have the reasonable doubt part of the law, that somebody did this beyond a reasonable doubt. So if there's any reasonable doubt that somebody didn't kill somebody, well, then you have to let them walk, because you'd rather have people walk than put an innocent person behind bars. In this case, how do you have that? How do you not have, again, any kind of reasonable doubt that the stories these women are telling from 20 years ago is accurate?
Yeah.
And not just, well, we're going after somebody. It's not very hard to believe at this point that 2 or 3 people could get together and be like, you know that Danny, I'm going to get that son of a bitch. We'll show him. And that's what you have. There is no justice in this country anymore. There is no law.
Nope.
Face the screen said, tell Gene I said dobro utro, whatever that means.
That means good morning.
Huh?
Even in your horrible pronunciation.
Dobro jutro. I mean, CSB's been trying to teach me how to say the Polish words, and I can barely get English out. But I know that it's kurwa mach.
Dobre utro.
I didn't know we were actually a Russian podcast. Wow.
I know, right?
We're big in Moscow. If you're listening from the
Moscow, we have zero. Look at the stats. Nobody from Moscow is listening.
I haven't looked in a long time. Dare I? Yeah. I mean, that's we might find out things we don't want to know.
Might you?
We might find out that we actually have nothing but an audience from Moscow.
Yes, it's half the audience is Polish, the other half is Russian.
It's weird how that works, isn't it? I mean, and they're not donating, so there's that.
Well, there is that. Yeah, I'm sure CSB is going to chime in with his usual promote his show kind of thing.
Yeah, he sent a boostagram.
There you go.
And we'll get to that.
Go ahead. You want to get those out of the way?
You want to do that? Because I was going to...
Let's get them out of the way.
I was going to pull up the stats,
get that stuff out of the way.
That. We did on the last show. I mean, we were so ingrained and engrossed in our own conversation, we didn't even mention that we had a couple of donations on the last show. I mean, that's how crazy the last show was. It was like, oh, we never got around to that. But on the last show, that would have been our buddy Sir Truck Driver coming in with $565. And
yeah, I gotta get some. Well, it'll be a little while now. Got to do some streaming of me driving truck through Texas.
Oh, people will love that. Real trucks are virtual. Well, it's Gene, so virtual, it's virtual, of course. Yeah. Yes. don't want to leave
that's
the house.
mostly what I'm doing in this game. Is I'm mostly a space truck driver. I'm hauling cargo in space.
So you're Han Solo.
Okay, I might have a portion of the ship that's specifically meant for, shielded cargo for carrying things that the police would not want me to carry.
Are there virtual police trying to take you down in this game?
I've been to virtual jail multiple times already.
So it's just like real life. Just like Costa Rica all over again.
Hey now.
Kevin Seifert coming in with his monthly $5. So that was from the last show, and we appreciate you folk. And for this one, we have a executive producer, Travis Hawes, coming in with $26.25.
That's an interesting number.
He said, speaking of radio, because you were saying you thought this show would be great on terrestrial radio.
Oh, yeah, I did say that.
That people could pop in and pop out and wonder what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
He said there's a station, somafm.com, that is donation only and think would fit this and other no agenda type shows. It says might be a good splice. I found it the no agenda stream through a Radio Garden app, which is interesting that's the way he found out about no agenda and the stream and everything else.
Honestly, the Podfather just put up an antenna and do a few megawatt.
We should. I mean, he should really pump that show right into the Mexican border and rent one of those transmitters.
Be a real part radio dude once again.
Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting because while it's really cool to be like, hey, I want to be on the big pumper out of Chicago, you can only get throughout the United States, where right now, I mean, we're live in Moscow. We're live in, wherever.
Krakow.
All over. Yeah, Krakow. Oh. We are live in Dublin. We are live in, wherever the internet can reach, this show can reach.
That's right.
So it's nice to have the big pump and wattage. Nothing, man.
I don't know. There is something kind of neat about tuning in the radio and hearing your own voice. I've experienced that back when we used to run ads for my other podcast.
As you were driving down the street, you're like,
yeah,
that's me on the radio.
And as it was kind of neat. I don't know if it was worth the money. In fact, I know it wasn't worth the money.
Right, because that podcast didn't make you $1 million, did it?
Well, you remember that story. I'm pretty sure I told it.
Yes.
It was a business podcast that I used to do with a buddy of mine who no longer lives here. He's one of the crazy people that moved to California.
Wait, he moved to California?
He moved the wrong direction. I know, right?
You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And he's not a liberal, but he is a little crazy. Yeah.
Well, wait, now here's the question. Has he been turned now that he went to California? Is he feeling more liberal?
I don't know that he is, but he was also one of those guys that just kind of goes with the crowd. Like he doesn't have a huge sense of fuck everybody, I'm right.
Interesting.
Clearly I do.
Right. You're like, that's your whole thing. So it helps to have people that aren't in that mode.
It's like, yeah, fuck everybody, I'm right. And so to interrupt the story that I'm using to interrupt the donation segment with, there was a question on a psychological profile test that I remember taking when I was young, when I was in college. Because, everybody signs up for those.
I bet you they gave you a lot of psych tests when you were young.
A lot of experiments when you were in college to make some extra money.
You were experimenting like Obama in college? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know that Obama was getting paid for that. So I did a lot of psych tests because that was, it's an easy way to make some money. And I remember one question there stood out to me because it seemed absurd. And the question was, would you rather be liked or would you rather be right?
And your answer was?
What do you think?
Well, you don't really care about being liked, so there's that.
I mean, it's an absurd question. Who in their right mind would rather be wrong just to be liked?
I'm with you there.
That is crazy. That is some crazy talk. And I remember pointing that out to the psychologist who was jotting down notes and that, can you at least come up with decent questions here?
And they said no.
No, she said that's very interesting.
Did you say it in a very demeaning way?
What do you think?
Yes, of course. Let's see. 2,
Naturally.
3, 4, 5, 6.
But we got to be good friends after that.
As far as the amount of bandwidth, so that would lead you to believe how much the show is being consumed. Number 9 on the list is the Russian Federation.
Really?
Yeah, this year we have
9 out of 9.
We have streamed 13 gig to the Russian Federation.
Huh.
We've streamed 990 gig to the United States.
Well, I would say Grandma's listening, but Grandma's dead, so that ain't her.
Somebody's in Grandma's old house listening in
probably
53 gigs to
dude,
Canada.
I know what that is. That's just my VPN.
51 to Great Britain, 29 to Germany, 41 to the Netherlands, 16.8 gig to India.
Okay, well that's just that's fake. There's nothing there.
14 gig to Norway.
Okay.
52 gig to Australia. Thank you, Dale.
Yeah, Dale, thank you. That's literally Dale right there.
Right there, 52 gig. He listens all the time. Poland, only 3.41 gig.
Oh, boy.
Serbia, 3 gig.
Yeah. My Serbian boys.
8 to Angola. 8 to the Czech Republic. Very interesting.
Angola. Who's listening in Angola?
I don't know. If you're listening in Angola, let us know.
Yeah.
Because that's enough. Only 3.42 to Italy.
That figures.
4 gig to Romania. 6, about 5.5 to Belgium. Almost 7 to Chile. 2.3 to Ukraine.
2.3.
1.7 to France. So we are bigger in Ukraine than we are in France.
That right there, that's the title. Bigger in Ukraine than France. Yeah.
And we are. It's all true.
We are. I mean, it's all about the spin. This show is so big, it's bigger in Ukraine even than France.
Yeah. Yes. That is absolutely true. The Ukraine at 2.3 gig beats France. It beats Mexico, only 1.2 gig. We are not big in Mexico.
Yeah, we're not hablo Espanol at all. So
no, this is very concerning. We need to up the cume. We need to. I
was talking to a guy that's from. Oh, where the hell is he from? He's from a Latin American country that I can't remember.
Okay, nameless Latin American country.
Yeah, it's not Mexico. It's one of the other ones.
There are others, believe it or not.
It's pretty bad. I think it's actually, I think, South America. But I was talking to him about if it's worthwhile getting my book translated. And he said, well, why?
Like, so people that don't speak English would buy it. That's why.
You want to make money off it? I was like, well, I just think I have really damn good ideas. And,
Well, how easy is this now with AI? Wouldn't it not be way easier for...
That's why I'm asking.
Because
obviously I would do an AI translation and then give it to an editor for maybe $500 to $1,000 to just review.
Right. Go
make sure the grammar's good.
Right.
Yeah. But it doesn't, I don't need to hire a freaking translator for $20,000.
No.
Which is what you'd have to do in the olden days.
Because now you have magical AI.
Okay, sure. You just have AI.
It's magical.
It's not magical, dude. It's computer science.
It is. It's going to be, AI is going to be your girlfriend. Come on.
AI may have already been my girlfriend for quite a while, for all you know.
You may be an AI.
I've sent you some photos of AI girlfriends.
You send me a lot of stuff, to be fair.
I do. You don't read all of it. I know.
I do. I look. I'm like, Gene. I'm like, usually it's late at night, and I'm like, Gene's up to some no good again.
Or early in the morning.
Which for me is late at night.
Did you see Dick's Nuts?
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't see what that was, but I saw that was the last thing.
Okay.
On here.
Yeah. The Who Really Runs the World video is worth watching. That's by Moon. It's quite good. It goes through all the evilness around.
But we do have a couple of boostograms.
Okay.
There was one a 133 sats, which is like half a penny, from Aqualith, who says, Gene, you have a Star Citizen account? I'm a golden ticket backer. Citizen ID 13337.
Oh, is this like a live thing that he's listening and saying this?
No, this came in a few days ago, so this isn't even live.
Days ago, so he's probably not listening. Well, in case he's listening to this episode, I do indeed. I am a Legatus account.
Is that better?
That's the top tier.
He said 13337 Meridian. Despite being there from day one, I've only spent a couple hundred at most, either on gift copies or swag here and there in the morning, gents.
Yeah, cool. Well, send us more money then, because you're not doing it for the game.
Well, go find Gene in the game and blow up his ship. That would be cool.
Yeah, if you want to send me a friend request, Atlas Rand is his name.
Cotton Gin says that is 3 cents.
3 cents. There you go.
Yes.
Yes, 3 cents. You can do better. You can definitely do better than 3 cents.
And then the only other boostergram I'm seeing is from the one, the only CSB. Yeah, comic strip blogger.
Uh-huh.
Privyet, comrades, Gene and Darren. Please inform your pod listeners they can visit my cartoons at www.csb.lol. Follow me on X, Twitter, at handle CSB. 3 letters. Yo!
That's pretty good.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
I couldn't get, 3 letters. I was telling him pretty good.
Oh, I was thinking I could do it as
CSB
Elmo,
is
too.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Because he probably could. Because my short name on there was deleted a long time ago, and I never got it back because Elon Musk lied.
Oh, I thought you were friends with Elon.
Uh-huh.
You're not friends with Elon?
Just because he lives next door doesn't mean we're friends.
Yeah, did you invite him over to play that game? That'd be cool. You guys can sit around naked playing video games.
Well, you can make fun of that, but Elon has played a game that I've spent a lot of hours playing, which is Kerbal. He's talked about it before. So Elon has played video games. I don't think he does it on a regular basis by any means.
So you run into Elon in town and you're like, hey, dude, let me show you my virtual spaceships. And Elon's like, dude, let me show you my real spaceship.
My real spaceship. Exactly. I did do a full recreation of the first flight of the first manned Dragon capsule flight I did in Kerbal, using the audio track from the actual broadcast of SpaceX, where everything was timed exactly the same. It was really cool. It was fun. It took a long time, but it was very enjoyable to put together. And they had a whole contest of people sending shit like that into them.
You are such a nerd. We just got 55,555 sats. That's a little more than...
that's more than 3 cents. Thank you.
From Omega Project, who says, no more Elmo, please.
Okay. Every show at this point, you have to start doing Elmo so we get these bigger donations.
Yeah, we're learning. Thank you for training us, Omega Project.
Yeah. Thank you
for the donation. Now we know.
We'll stop for this episode, but if you'd like us not to do it next episode, we'll have to get another donation from you.
Mm-hmm. And Servo came in with 2323, says, on a fluke, I'm up this early on a Friday and listening live, so I guess have some value. Well, thank you, Servo.
Yeah, thank you indeed. It's amazing people are listening to this show on the stream on a Friday morning.
Wait, do you hear Gene? He is so excited to be up at this time on a Friday morning.
I'm so excited.
I just can't hide
it.
The Pointer Sisters, man, they had some good hits in the 80s. The 80s were the best era for music.
It was the best era, period. Yep. It was the pinnacle of America's civilization, and we will see that as history goes down. We'll see that America has never been greater than it was in the 80s.
And it was because we didn't have smartphones.
I don't know if that's why it was,
and people weren't connected to the point. I think the connection, the internet, and not necessarily the internet for the
internet is something the globalists have wanted forever.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, because you get to spread this misinformation instantaneously, and now added to it all. When you think about it, it really did not take long, a couple of decades, to go from connecting everybody to the ability to completely fake video, audio, and whatever else you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that now that people rely on this because they know that, oh, wait, somebody sees something on social media, a video, somebody puts it up. Well, of course, it has to be real. And then we're going to reboost it to everybody else. And then they're going to think it's real.
Speaking of real and real, might as well keep going down the bingo card here with Ukraine. Did you see that that article's coming out of Russia bombing a civilian marketplace?
What I hear is that Ukraine is bombing a lot of places and pretending to be Russia.
Well, now you're clearly listening to actual news sources rather than the fake news that most people do. But
because Ukraine is so freaking corrupt that they will literally do anything to try to keep their mouth on the teat of the America who will keep sending money.
Yeah, which America keeps sending money. I think we're at 200 billion, and overall, the number I've heard from combined with EU and everybody else is almost, not quite, but almost $300 billion, which is more money than Ukraine had in its entire budget, its entire GDP. I think it's crazy. So allegedly, by the propagandists out there, they're saying that Russia bombed a quaint little peaceful marketplace and 18 people died. Therefore, the U.S. has decided to ship a whole bunch of depleted uranium shells to Ukraine as a result of that action.
No, nothing wrong with that.
Now, Russia said before that if you use a depleted uranium shell on the territory of Russia, you have now opened up the nuclear can, and we will use nuclear weapons. And clearly, there are enough people in the United States pushing for this to happen.
They're like, oh, yeah, we need this.
Yeah, because I don't know if they think that Russia's going to blink or these people are ready to commit suicide or what the deal is, but we are very clearly on the path to using nukes right now, and it's completely up to the United States on whether this happens or not, and it sure seems like the U.S. is pushing for it.
Well, because you got mindless Joey in charge who doesn't know what he's doing.
You also have mindless Turtle Man and a whole bunch of politicians that are basically the facade of the lizards inside is starting to fall off.
Yeah, well, that explains McConnell. 300 billion is, just to put it in nerd money, that is 11,610,000 Bitcoin.
Nerd money.
That's how much that is.
Yeah. Isn't that exactly the number that was lost in Bitcoin when they shut down the Gox? What was it? Mount Gox?
Probably right there.
Yeah, because they got to get that money somewhere, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not going to actually work for it.
It's all fake money anyway.
Well, all money is fake money.
It's money that gets pulled out of the American taxpayers as real money and gets, quote unquote, sent to Ukraine, where it is divvied up by the politicians in Congress and to pay for their retirements. And then a whole bunch of different people have their finger in that pot.
Ooh, NetNet says Glitch McConnell. I like that.
Glitch McConnell. That's exactly right.
And he also sent in 3333 and said, how about Elmo raping Xenu? I don't know what that would say. Who is Xenu and what would that sound like? I don't know. But I can't do any more Elmo on this show thanks to...
No, because, you got paid not to do it.
About $15 from Omega Project to not do Elmo. If I knew I could get paid for people for not doing things, I'd have been doing this a long time ago.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's a much better gig, like... do I want me to love you long time? No. Here's money not to love me long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the ultimate in capitalism, being paid not to do something.
Well, so you'd be joining the farmers.
I guess, right. Just sit there and we'll give you money.
Have been for a long time paid to not grow food.
Because it's bad to use your land when we want to be reliant upon foreign countries.
That's right.
I saw a video
We'd
on
rather
YouTube
import it from Mexico
the other day on the long history of Vladimir Putin and how for pretty much since the moment he took office, much like Donald Trump, the walls are closing in, his days are numbered, and why it's the beginning of the end. And it's interesting when you go and you'll hear and see the headlines over the past 20 years that you realize that reality has really never been in the news.
No.
And that's kind of sad, but
yeah,
once you know that, you pay a lot less attention to the news and you consume it with a completely different viewpoint on it. Like my latest random thoughts that everybody should listen to, which talks about the excess deaths in America from the start of 2020 until now. And they compare this to the 3 years prior, which the 3 years prior, of course, right before COVID, January 20 and 20 forward with COVID. And the under 64, the 64 and under age range in the U.S. had like 17.8, I think it was, % higher excess deaths than the 3 years before. And a lot of people are covering that. Well, obviously, Boston, it's the vaccines.
Yeah.
But then you look at other civilized countries who also had vaccines, and some of them are only up 5% at that time. So it's like, where's
obviously the lack of vaccines?
It's like, where's the statistics on this? You got to look at everything, because it was something like the UK was up 10% rather than the 18 we had here.
Here's what I would say. There were no excess deaths.
It was all just a what you would call a accounting thing.
There were there were an appropriate number of deaths.
Was it? I mean, again, but you're comparing to the 3 years prior, and you can't really say. I mean, I don't know what normal fluctuations are, because you can cherry pick anything.
Yeah, there was fewer than necessary deaths previous to this.
Right. You know, but you look at places like Italy, which, remember when COVID started, Italy was like, oh my God, people are dying everywhere. Yeah. And they were only like 4% more over the last 3 years. So, and the interesting thing was the deaths for, at least again, on the record, if you believe the statistics, in the United States for the 14 and under was down over the last 3 years as opposed to the 3 years prior. And I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense, because the kids weren't leaving the house.
Right.
You weren't getting hit by buses.
Yeah.
You weren't running into the street.
You weren't doing stupid shit.
No.
That you should be doing when you're a kid.
And I think a lot of it in the United States that people just don't want to talk about is the fact that crime is running rampant. So is people getting killed. So are people overdosing. Like, that's where your excess deaths, at least again, maybe the right amount of deaths, but this is why it's up from the 3 years prior. Because you have a fentanyl problem where people are dying left and right.
Yeah.
And the numbers, it's like, when you hear like, oh my God, it's up 20%, it's like, well, it's about the total number of people, again, that they classify as extra over the 3 years was like 500 and something thousand, which when you do the math, okay, that's, 180,000 per year.
The average lifespan in the U.S. has gone down.
Yes. Well, it's a very unhealthy populace in the United States. And I'm one of them, and I'm trying to get in the right, mindset, as I've been talking about going on the bike 5 to 6 days a week for 45 minutes to an hour a day. Before that, wasn't really doing a lot.
Why would you do less than an hour? An hour seems like the right number.
It all depends on how early I had my coffee. Because if I have to get off the bike and go take a pee, then I'm not going back.
You're not going back on? I see.
I might go back later in the day.
Why don't you just take a pee right before getting on the bike?
I do. I mean, that's it.
You can't hold it for 45 minutes these days?
No, not if it's...
Jesus. How do you do a podcast? You have a bottle?
No, I do, but I'm drinking out of the bottle. But
is your name Bembrose secretly?
No, but I said that would be, we need a signal. We're like, okay, I'm going to go.
Oh my God.
I'm going to go take a break. No, I have no problem with the podcasting. It's just when I go on the bike in the morning, right after taking the blood
you're not
pressure.
On the bike right now?
No, I should be.
I thought you were.
The new bike is much quieter. I had to get a new one because the old one finally broke.
Really?
Yeah. The magnetic thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that it's annoying me about the new bike is that there is where the display is, And there's like two sets of handlebars, one like down by your side, one in front in case you want to like lean up or whatever, I guess.
Okay.
Well, it now is right where I would normally be watching the TV that I just had on the low stand. So now the thing is blocking the TV. So I've had to,
sucks.
I know, I've had to use the iPad to watch it. It's like the iPad's fine to watch crap, but you know what's great about the TV? It's hooked up to a Roku that I've got a remote control in my hand.
Exactly.
And I want to be able to flip through stuff, and it's hard to flip through stuff.
The iPad. I know you're going to drop the iPad.
Which means I need a new one anyway. But I mean, you like to send your co-host gifts. So, I mean, you could just send me a new supply of iPads.
Yeah. Is that how that works?
Yeah. The unlimited Gene Niftulev iPad supply. So, I mean, now my question is, do I really want to buy and it's not money wise, but do I want to get a stand or a mounting to put the TV up on the wall?
Can't you just get rid of the handlebars?
Yeah, I thought about that. That was my question to the wife. I'm like, can we just unhook this? Who really cares about the display on the bike? Nobody.
Exactly. Nobody.
So that may be the route to go as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's mount the TV. It'd be nice, I guess, to have the TV a little bit higher. But it's like, I really didn't want to have to mount the TV to the wall. But if I have to, that'll be okay. But it is.
Well, you could get a standing desk for a couple $100 at that store from Sweden.
Right, IKEA. But that wouldn't really help me while riding the bike. I mean, I guess you could. And then put the
TV on it and you
just
raise the thing up. Yeah. Or you lower it as appropriate. Yeah.
Well, that is the question. A higher
Honestly,
stand.
I don't know why no one's just made that product for televisions per se, something that for people that want to watch a TV from a couch, but then also want to raise it up and watch it from the kitchen.
Right. I know there are some that the television will just come right out of the furniture, so it's hidden when you're not using it. So there are mechanisms that will raise.
That's very ancient. Like, that's the kind of shit my parents would do.
I know, but that was awesome. We'd like get there and you'd be like, look, there's no TV here, but I can press it.
It's not awesome because all of those are made for TVs that are size too small.
That's why you're like, I need the 150 incher, baby.
Yeah.
You're like, well, of course, why not? Well, maybe that's what I should just put in the in the room where the bike is. I should just get a laser front projection thing, and then I can just fill the whole wall.
Totally. Exactly. That's what I do.
And you're like, this is like being in a drive-in movie theater while
I get projectors, multiple ones in the house,
riding on the recumbent bike. Well,
on the Autobahn, riding on the Autobahn.
And they're much better than they used to be. The front projectors, and they're a lot smaller and a lot brighter.
Well, the bigger thing is you can have them way closer now to the wall than you used to. Like, a short throw projector used to be like 5-6 feet. Now it's like
an inch,
2 feet.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's literally right there, which is crazy because it seems like it shouldn't work that much.
DigiGuru says, get a Microsoft Surface.
But what is that going to do? That's literally achieving nothing.
Yeah, I don't want to touch anything.
Yeah, he doesn't want to touch it. He doesn't want to hold it. He'll drop the thing.
I just want the remote. My Roku remote is great.
And if you've got an iPad, dude, you don't go backwards. You don't get a Surface.
Ooh. I have been thinking I need a new iPad Pro. They do nice tablets.
They do great tablets. I'm kind of at a point where I might need to replace multiple ones. Unfortunately, I'm trying to hold off as long as I can.
Yeah, I'm still using one that was the second iteration, and it still works fine for what I do on it.
I've got the entire Pro line, and one of them is no longer. I mean, it still works, but it's effectively needs to get replaced. Yeah, I've got the Pro 9, the Pro 10, the Pro 11, the Pro 12.
Well, I think this was the first Pro that came out.
So you got the 13-inch one.
Yeah, it's 12.9, whatever it is.
12, whatever, yeah.
And that was great. I mean, before the eye blew out, that was great for reading comic books.
Right.
Perfect size for that.
That's the main thing that you miss from the eye blowing out.
It really is.
Reading.
It really is. Because that was,
wow.
It's different. It's very hard to, take everything in on a page is now the issue.
Yeah.
So it's a lot less fun.
I believe it. But Would you rather lose eyesight or hearing?
That is a tough one. I mean, if you had to really go zero on one or the other, they would both be pretty bad.
Yeah. So which?
I don't know. I mean, I guess because I have the bad eyes, it's like you're like ears, but I rely on those for so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole world of podcasting, as far as doing a podcast,
it'd be done.
Yeah, couldn't do it. Well, I couldn't
you
certainly
could
couldn't have a co-host.
You couldn't listen.
Right.
Yeah, you couldn't have a co-host. You could only do one solo.
Rush for a while was pretty much deaf.
He was deaf. Yeah. He's still doing it.
They had the people just giving him the questions. Again, you need a Bo Snerdley that can immediately transcribe.
Yeah.
But that is not good for a back and forth.
Mm-mm.
It is.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but I think that it'd be harder to live without hearing.
It's probably close.
I think that having vision at some point in your life, so you're not like, blind from the birth or whatever.
And knowing you've lost that is a bigger thing than never having it.
Well, I don't know about that, but I will say that at least you have a memory of what things look like when you physically touch them. Like the world still is the same way that you remember. Like if you go blind, for example, you'll still know what a coffee cup is supposed to feel like.
True.
And because you can envision it in your head on what it looks like. Same thing with pretty much everything. Is like you have a visual concept of the world and you just happen to be in the dark. Right? Whereas if you lose hearing, you're literally missing a sense of input that is always providing you with information, including emergency information.
But once you lose vision, you're not playing your video games anymore. That's
very true. So you'd actually be reading a lot more, I would imagine.
Yeah, you'd be learning rather than wasting your time.
You'd be like, I'm going to learn how to program.
Living in a virtual world, playing in virtual spaceships.
That's right. No, it is a tough one. I've gone to this thing called, this is like pre-COVID when, people still went out. I got invited to a did they call it a black dinner or a blind dinner?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Was,
yeah,
it had to be
either
blind.
black or blind.
Yeah, it was like or pitch black. There was one of those things.
Yeah. So it's basically you go to a way overpriced event where they're going to serve interesting food, but the crazy aspect of it is that everything will be in complete pitch black.
Supposed to heighten your senses.
No sense of light coming in at all. And
which really I feel so bad for the people having to serve here. Or do they get to wear night vision goggles?
Night vision gown. Yeah, they're wearing night vision. So they can see fine. Because everything is illuminated with infrared light. And so you don't see it, but all the night vision folks can see everything.
Now that's probably where the entertainment comes.
That's where the money comes from, I think, or where the money goes to. But either way, I really did not have a problem with this whatsoever. It's not like the first time I've eaten blind, so not a big deal. And I thought it was sometimes I may be just so tired that I just don't bother opening my eyes for a few hours.
While you're eating.
While I'm, walking around the house eating.
Throwing a good omelet together.
Well, I don't put yeah. I'm not going to be frying blind, that's for sure. It's not a good idea. People don't try this at home.
Because certainly flying blind is fine. Frying blind is not recommended.
Flying blind is okay as well. But I've walked blind for quite an extended distance. It was a path that I'd done so many times. I'd pretty much memorized what it's supposed to be like, and I was curious to see how far I can get with my eyes closed.
And you were assuming that nobody was going to be just standing there. There wasn't going to be a horse in your way.
This is why I have hearing, so I can actually hear when there are other people around.
Frying naked is even worse than frying blind. That is true, Ned.
Yeah, okay. Worse than all of those, frying with a beard.
Hey, well, every now and then it's okay if your beard goes up. That's that's the
last
problem.
time my beard got lit on fire was probably 8 years ago.
Hey, is there a donation amount? Somebody can set your beard on fire if they come in with a high enough donation. Do you want to set Gene's beard on fire? Just come in with the $3,333 donation.
A lot more than that.
I mean, you could put it out right away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not saying they have to burn it off.
It is the one of the worst feelings you can have is seeing a fire right in front of your face, and as you jerk your head back and away from the flames,
the fire moves with you
towards you. It is a not a subliminal, but like you're not consciously thinking about this. You're just reacting. Like if you touch something hot, your hand just jerks away. You don't think, oh, I should move my hand.
Right.
It's that kind of thing. And so your head keeps moving away from the fire uncontrollably, and the fire keeps moving with your head because it's attached to it. And I think I ended up just like pouring champagne on it to put it out.
Well, of course you would. I mean, or was he had to use the caviar to?
No, I was on the boat. I was on the boat lighting a cigar.
Well, you could have just jumped into the water.
It didn't occur to me. But
surrounded by water, but the champagne looked like a good idea.
I had a champagne glass in my hand, so so that ended up, and then I was pissed about having to clean that up because champagne is sticky.
Oh, yeah. Well, it could have been 151, and then you would have had a different issue.
Good point. Yes. If I was drinking vodka, using vodka to put out a fire may not have been the best move at all. Yeah.
But you're not thinking. It's like when you have a grease fire and people throw water on it.
I was out celebrating girlfriend's birthday on the boat. And
she was finally 12?
She was 21.
Oh, 21. I was just
so fuck
dyslexic.
You.
Sorry.
Yes, you are dyslexic, and don't be implying anything about pedophilia here, buddy.
Isn't that what we do to old white guys in America
now? Not girls.
Yes. They have to be at least 18.
Exactly.
And once they're 23, they're too old.
Well, I'm not dating old hags, am I?
I don't know if you're dating anybody. That's hence the video games for 18 hours a day.
Yes. Well, yeah, but you know this story. So the reason I'm playing video games 18 hours a day is literally that actual chick. So she was a Twitch streamer playing video games on stream.
And that got you into this?
Well, I thought I kind of got grown out of video games, got past them. And in a lot of ways, she was the person responsible for like reintroducing me to playing computer games, and why I ended up getting my first gaming PC in decades. Well, at least one decade. I think I pretty much stopped playing games around 2010. And then like 2017, 18, I happened to be dating a Twitch streamer chick. And so, yeah, that's her fault.
Got you right back into the video games.
Yeah. And she's not even on Twitch anymore.
Made too much money? Got old?
Something. Yeah, got old. That's exactly right.
Because Twitch is just like Gene, and it's like, whoa, you're how old?
Yeah, it can't be too old. Although there are quite a few dudes that look like me on Twitch, which I find interesting. There's a dude that looks like me that plays World of Warships quite a bit. There's a dude that looks like me, and like me meaning, 50-year-old plus dude with a beard. Another one that does truck driving videos, and there's another one that does farming videos, like farm sim. So since all of those games are already taken by other dudes with beards, I can't do those anymore. So
You have to come up with your own niche.
Yeah, the space games don't have as many dudes with beards.
What do they normally play? Just a truck driving simulator?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, truck driving, farming. Mm-hmm.
And they think this is interesting for people to watch.
I mean, I do have a buddy that does play Star Citizen that's got a big beard as well. But he's also IRL playing a sea captain. So that's another way of saying he bought a boat.
Yeah, that's going to take all his money.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I don't know how much time he's going to be playing video games because he bought a boat.
Will Gene do kick.com? What is kick.com?
I don't know, dude. I've looked at Kick. I've not set up on there as a streamer. Kick is another streaming platform.
How many do we need beyond the YouTube?
Everybody hates Bezos, right? And Bezos obviously is the one that owns Twitch.
So it's an Amazon property now.
Yeah, it's an Amazon product. Yeah. I mean, it is something they bought. They didn't start it. You probably remember back in the olden days, what Twitch is now is the same company that originally was, what was it, Ben TV or John TV or Jim
Justin
TV or something?
TV?
Justin TV. Yeah, that's
the guy that just start walking around.
Yeah.
Live streaming his life.
Yep. So Justin TV became Twitch. Yep.
I did not know that.
Acquired by Amazon. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know why people don't use. Maybe I'll check out Kick some more. Maybe I will start doing something on Kick. But YouTube, I've had pretty good luck streaming on. And again, I'm not doing this for money. Obviously, I'm just doing it for fun to have a little more interaction when I'm playing.
Nobody's really sure what you do for money, Gene. That's the question that everybody always asks.
I'm a legitimate businessman. It says so on my business card. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. You have to see Gene, though, to get one of those business cards.
Yeah, I don't just send them out. You have to pick one up.
Just show up at his house. He'll give you one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to get through the security measures.
Well, yeah, I live in a gated community, dude. Come on.
I mean, with Elon on one side and Kristen Cavallari on the other, you got a lot of stuff going on.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, were we not? I'll edit that out. Don't worry. I forgot. There's certain things Gene doesn't want people to know. So stream, just keep that to yourself.
Yeah, that's right. So what should I get for dinner?
You're already ordering dinner?
Or lunch, dinner, whatever you want to call it.
Lunch, dinner?
I only eat once a day.
Wait, this is intentional or just because you have...
I'm poor.
I was just thinking you have only so much time to play video games. If I only eat once, then I can play video games.
I can play more. Well, I don't stop playing when I'm eating. So
see that why you need new gear all the time. You're cleaning things up. You want to get something clean then. You don't want something greasy. You don't want like a pizza where things are going to get all over. With this new game, what kind of are you using? A controller? Is it a keyboard game? Is it a mouse and keyboard?
It's a mouse and keyboard. I don't eat pizza anymore, dude. You know that. It's like all carbs. I'm trying to eat healthy.
You love a little bit of pizza, man. Now, what if there was a healthy pizza? Can we put you in a healthy pizza?
There's no such thing.
I know. Well, anything good seems to be. Here's the
closest
question.
thing to healthy pizza is tacos.
What is the healthiest food that you think tastes good? That you'd be like, I would just pick this over other things?
Chicken.
But how would you prepare it then? Just barbecue? We can't barbecue because you can't have
shish kebab.
Oh, yeah, I do love a good kebab.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Greek, not fully Greek, but owned by Greeks, place we go to all the time that has a delightful chicken shish kebab, a little bit of feta cheese. Yeah, they do it over a rice though, and some rices are no good.
No, you can't do rice. Rice is one of the most horrible things ever since I got that implanted meter, the continuous blood glucose meter thingy. You can see. I mean, and that's the cool thing about it. Honestly, is just the ability to see what foods do what. And rice and French fries are, I swear to God, the two worst things you can possibly eat. You're better off eating dessert. You're better off eating ice cream than eating either rice or French fries.
Yeah, because those some
spike your sugar and then hold it high for hours before it drops back down.
I had some Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream last night.
You like that? It's
Dude,
good stuff.
It is good. And we also found a
Was it on
Smucker's.
sale at your store?
Yeah, well, I just great. Yeah, there was a coupon for. I got one of
figured.
and instead of the like 1 point whatever ounce, this was the small 4 point whatever ounce. And then we split that in half. The wife had half. I had half. It was gone.
Ooh, you didn't just get one each?
No, that's too bad. But I did. We found a new. I don't know if it's new, but it was new for us. A Smucker's cherry jam. I mean, which is great for like a gourmet PB&J. But I'm like, I really like the cherry coffee. So I put just like a teaspoon of that in with the chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was so good.
Chocolate and cherries absolutely mix. There is a limited run black cherry flavor that they do with chocolate. I've never had it with coffee, though.
Yeah, they're right. Because this wasn't the chocolate. This was with the coffee ice cream.
This is coffee, right? But like the bigger bitterness of the chocolate goes well with the cherry sort of tartness flavor. So I could imagine it with coffee. I've never had it though. I'll have to try it.
I was like, this was awesome. And I'm sure it just put the sugar level way up. But this is why you can have it like once a week, if that.
Now, have you tested your blood sugar, or do they at least do it when you go to the doctor?
Yeah, they do. I've never had an issue.
It's always normal.
Yeah.
It's always 100-ish. Okay. That's good.
We don't have that problem yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the giant men seem to have more medical issues in general, so I figured I'd check.
Which again is something when you start talking about why more people are dying. It's like we talked about that when I said I saw that video of the Russian mall, and it's like everybody's lined up for fast food, but nobody's fat. So go figure.
Right. Yes. I don't know what it is anymore. I can tell you historically, and not just in Russia, but in Europe in general, people did not, it was not convenient to drive to places. There was not sufficient parking. And you generally had on-street parking for your car. So if you lose your spot, you may be walking a while when you repark it when you get back home. So people tended to not use their cars if they could get to places using public transit, which inevitably means you walking to the public transit and you're walking from the public transit. So I think the average European, and true of Russia as well, obviously, is they tended to walk more than 10,000 steps a day from just general walking without trying to exercise.
Interesting. That would make sense.
Yeah. And I think that it plays out because there are fewer fat people in New York City.
Yeah. More physical activity. You will lose the pounds. Because if you're sedentary, then, I mean, it doesn't even take a lot. That's the one thing that seems to be accurate. It's not like you need to do something for hours a day. It's like, go for a walk every day.
Yeah, going for, and I'm soon going to restart that. It is cooling off here. Finally, it's down to the 90s.
Woo! Damn,
so
nice.
I know, right? When it gets to the 80s, I'm going to resume walking. I was walking in the spring, and I can't do it in the summer. It's too fucking hot.
It's currently 67 here.
Wow, that's like December or January temperatures.
I know. We've got the 70s and 60s going on now for a couple of weeks. If it's 67,
you ought to go for a walk.
Head out. I already was on the bike, so I mean, maybe this afternoon.
No, I mean, you ought to go outside is what I'm saying.
Whoa, outside?
Yeah. Now be careful. Don't rape any women when you're out there.
I mean, I know it's one of those things where it's hard not to once you're.
I know, right? Being a tall, straight white dude, what else would you possibly be doing?
Of course.
But if you're careful, you could probably get away with going outside without raping anyone.
I can just throw on the headphones, listen to a good podcast like the good old boys.
Cold opener, by the way, as well.
So many. This show is like a cornucopia.
Non-stop cold openers the whole show through.
Well, No Agenda did that as a special, and people did not like it.
I know. People don't like weird things.
Well, I think it was the anybody that's got any kind of ACD or whatever the OCD, ACD. It's like ACDC, whatever you got.
Anyone who's got ACDC.
Yeah, if you got ACDC, it was not good to have that. It's like watching a concert back from the 80s or 90s where they flip the screen or they change the view like every 4 seconds.
Yeah.
The cut. I hated that. It's like, no, don't do that. Or you want to get the flashing light so you can have a.
I like the flashing light.
Well, not for people that will get into seizures because of it.
No, that makes it more fun.
Oh, really? You're like, hey, look, they're seizing.
Yeah, exactly. Gives you something to watch.
Gives you something to do.
Yeah. Look at all the people that are affected by things I'm not affected by.
Right. It's like the assholes that are like, MSG is good, man. I don't know why people don't like it.
The best Chinese food has tons of MSG.
I'm sure it does. That's why I can't eat it.
MSG is great. Love that stuff.
Look, I would rather not have the migraine.
I eat it damn near every single day.
You put it on everything?
No, it comes with everything I order because I mostly eat Chinese food.
Yeah, well, see, it was the sound effect that they left in with every one of the openings. Cotton Gin saying, if that wouldn't have been in there, it might have been listenable. Or listenable, is that a word?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
It got to be a little too much.
You know what they should do is do like 2-hour episode of nothing but the fat lady singing The Flight of the Valkyrie.
That'd be good.
I would enjoy it. I could listen to 2 hours of that. I love Wagner.
Bum ba bum 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 ba bum bum.
I'm still curious which recording Adam is using because to be out of copyright, it has to be over 30 or 40 years old. I can't remember, but quite an old recording.
Yeah, but they could have good audio quality way back when.
They did. Yeah, for sure.
And
but
now we have all the magical tools to clean everything up.
We do. Yeah. Magic tools called AI.
AI, yes. Well, that's what I've noticed with this one that they're going. I mentioned it before the Grumpy show the other day and then forgot to talk about it.
Still doing that thing?
Yeah. I mean, really, I'm not sure why. It was episode 233.
Jesus.
I know. And
that long and you still haven't figured it out.
And the donations are not good. The donations and the live listening for Planet Rage way up. Grumpy Old Ben's down a little bit. This show, it fluctuates. It depends what mood people are in, I think, for this show.
Yeah.
But this new plugin from a company, I think it's Goyo, Goyo. And it is an AI thing that is very simple, and it'll be interesting to see if they add anything to this because they're just about to go paid where it's out of beta. But it has 3 dials on it, and it lets you adjust voice, reverb, and ambiance are the 3 things that it's trying to use the AI to separate. And it doesn't sound perfect, but if you take this and turn on your favorite song with vocals, you could remove 90% or so of the background music while the vocals are still understandable, which is pretty impressive.
It's pretty good.
So being able to do this for somebody that's doing a podcast, like I had earlier, somebody going by with a leaf blower.
Yeah.
Allegedly, this would be able to, if that made it onto the recording,
remove it,
separate that out.
I didn't hear a leaf blower, and maybe it was very subtle, but I didn't pick it up.
Which is good. I mean, it's a combination of the microphone and having 2 noise gates.
Let me ask you an important question here that's on my mind. What the hell is the difference between chicken wings and drumsticks?
The chicken wing would be the wing. The little thing like you'd get at a buffalo wing, where the drummies would be like the little drumstick.
But the wing isn't like the very tip of the wing when you order a wing, right? Because that's not edible.
I don't know.
I mean, what? Because they look like little drumsticks, and I'm just trying to figure out if they're...
Well, if they're little drumsticks, then they're drummies, baby.
They look like drumsticks, but they're referred to as wings. So what part of the wing looks like a drumstick?
The drumstick. Well, I mean, they are connected. The wing would be connected to the little drummy, so sometimes you get them all together. Yeah, they're all right there.
No, they're not. Dude, that's hands and feet. I know. They're 2 different things.
You ever see chickens that are just totally deformed? That's what you get.
No, I haven't seen chickens that are totally deformed. I've seen regular looking chickens, even though they can't fly, they still have wings.
Metis wants to know if there's an AI that would make me sound like a sexy lady. Do you mean me or you, Metis? Because it's way closer for you. And you could just raise the pitch. That's all you got to do.
I mean, it's a lot more than that, but
Metis says drumettes equal wings.
What the hell's a drumette?
They're like the little like drumsticks, but smaller.
Oh,
hey, we're talking chicken parts here on the Unrelenting podcast.
I'm talking about like the leg, the thigh of the chicken, right? Being the drumstick, and then the wing. I guess it'd be the biceps of the wing of the chicken. Is that the drumette? I don't know. Wing stick?
We go to the kitchen and see, I'm absolutely right here. An anatomical guide to chicken wings. Somebody's done this. That you have the little drumette, which is attached to the wingette. And then the little bit that you don't eat is the tip.
That's what I said. Yeah, you don't eat, never the tip.
So
never just the tip.
After that is you have the wing, but then the drumette, the little drummy drum that is attached. I can send you this link.
Sure. Why don't you send me a link? That's great content for podcasts. Send me the link.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that how we normally do the show?
Don't share the link with anyone. Just send it to me.
Oh, I can put it in the troll room as well.
Well, put it in the show notes.
I just want to know why Metis is looking to change his voice into a female. Are you trying to catfish somebody, Metis?
Maybe trying to accuse somebody of rape, maybe?
Right. Much easier that way. It's because all you got to do is sound like a woman.
How many other podcasts make fun of rape for 2 hours?
I don't know. Not many that have listeners. But it's because it is gotten to the point to where it is laughable that things, not rape, but when you're still dating somebody for years after, I don't believe you when you're like, well, he was raping me.
It all comes from the feminist propaganda that the third wave feminists basically saying that all sex is rape.
Yeah.
The only sex that's not rape happens between two women.
And if you believe that, you're listening to the wrong show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Gene tries to figure out what chicken parts are.
Yeah, because they don't look like what they're labeled.
You're like, this is what I should order.
I generally go for breast, but
there's your ISO, kids.
That's not as good as some of the other ones we've had.
It all depends. You have to think about it out of context.
Yeah. Well.
So there's your chicken parts. Now you thinking of ordering some chicken for your meal? Is that what we're going with?
Yeah, that's kind of
with a nice garlic, hot sauce, something good like that.
Well, I was thinking more like cheap food, and Popeyes has a 2-for-1 on wings right now.
Yeah, I can't do Popeyes. They're loaded with MSG.
Oh,
can't do KFC. Though. Can't do Chick-fil-A. All MSGers.
Yeah, because it tastes good.
Okay, here's the question. Here's what people I'm sure want to know. I guess first the question is, do you do with the hot wings? Do you do a dipping sauce or you just a straight eating the wings without a dipping sauce?
Mostly straight. Occasionally I'll dip, but I usually forget about the sauce and it's still in the bag. And then I realize, oh yeah, they came with sauce.
Gene's went through 4 pounds of chicken wings and he's like, oh shit, I had a sauce. But are you a blue cheese or a rancher? I have been
accused of eating fried chicken the way that Cartman does.
I could see that. Make a video. Are you a blue cheese or a rancher?
Blue cheese.
Oh, of course. Okay. I'm with you 100%. People that think ranch is better than blue cheese.
Oh, God, no.
They're scary. They're not. Crazy. Yeah. It's like, I don't even want to be friends with you because that is wrong.
Yeah.
Blue cheese is so much better than ranch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cotton Gin agrees. So, okay, Cotton Gin, you're okay. Anybody that's like ranch.
You have to donate money now, Cotton Gin.
If you think ranch is better, you're wrong. Quite simply,
All right,
you are
who's
wrong.
going to donate to make Darren stop talking about ranch?
Ranch is, I mean, I don't know. And you know what's really disgusting?
What's disgusting?
The low-fat ranch.
I have never had that.
Oh, I mean, somebody that
I
was...
generally don't get ranch even by accident. I'd rather have Thousand Island if blue cheese is not available.
Totally. I mean, the reason you get a nice big, what do you call them? Reuben is the Thousand Island.
Well,
then you could dip your fries in it.
Other reasons.
It's so good.
Yeah, fries with Thousand Island work great.
Right?
But I think they also have like double the calories of ketchup.
Yeah, which, I mean, we're not
also
saying...
fries are the worst thing for your blood sugar, as I've come to realize.
And wings
I didn't think they were that bad, but then I'm like, holy shit. It's, you know what it is? It's like these foods that have a slow release carbohydrate like potatoes and rice that doesn't just spike you in and drop right back down. Like if you eat ice cream, you can watch it on the graph. It'll go from 100 up to like 300. And then within about an hour, hour and a half, it'll be back down to about 125, 130.
Right. The fries, you're like for 5-6 hours.
Fries,
you're like,
they go from 0 to about 250 and then stay at 250 for 5 freaking hours.
Yeah, because your body's like, I got to work to break this stuff down.
Well, it's not that. It's still very dense in terms of the calories, but it's a slower release of that. And it just stays in your blood forever. And so, you know, if you eat an ice cream, it's like getting a shot of heroin right in your arm.
Good stuff, baby.
But if you eat the French fries, that's that's like taking one of those synthetic drugs. It's like it's going to keep you up all night.
It was designed to do exactly that.
Well, I don't even know. What's a drug that lasts a long time?
Anything with an extended release.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Obvious.
Yeah, that was...
Come on, troll room. You all know drugs. You're all a bunch of druggies.
Hence, they are not donating because they're putting all their money to drugs.
Into drugs, I know. What's a drug that lasts a long time?
The Reverend Dr. Pfeiffer of the
acid?
2-hour
Does acid
folk
last
hour.
a long time?
Oh, yeah, LSD. That was the first one mentioned.
There you go.
As well as mushrooms.
Perfect. Yep. Oh, yeah, mushrooms. That's right. Shrooms. Still never had those. Never done mushrooms.
The magic mushrooms. You ought to do magic mushrooms with Scene. Come on down.
I'd do them with somebody, sure.
Yeah, for the right amount. Oh, wow, listen to this guy. He is barely awake.
I'm like dozing off. This is why I need to get food going pretty quick.
So you can get more tired. Did you have your coffee yet? Do you do the caffeine thing? Are you off
I don't
caffeine?
do coffee. I've been off coffee for 2 years, dude.
Wow, coffee and booze.
Yeah.
So it's just tea. And the tea, you had your morning tea yet? Is that probably not enough caffeine?
Right now. I've had a cup of tea already.
A cup of tea. So very civilized. Define the cup. Is it like a 6-ounce thing? What's a cup of tea for you?
12 ounce, maybe.
Okay. So that's a real mug of tea, not like when you say, I've had a cup of tea, I picture you with the pinky up, like a little 4-inch, a little 4-ounce, cup, and you're like just sipping.
I've never understood those. I swear to God. And I had a mug when I was a kid at my parents' house that was like a 16-ounce mug for tea. And I never understood what the point was of people pouring in like 4-ounce cups of tea. They drink it, refill it, drink it, refill it, drink it. I'm like, just give me 16 ounces all at once.
Yeah.
I'm going to get drunk. I know how much I'm going to drink. Okay. I'm going to drink 16 ounces. So, or more. So don't do it 4 ounces at a time. It makes no sense.
Face the Screen says fentanyl was made for extended release. That's why it kills instantly, which makes sense.
Wait, no. If it kills, then it's not really a drug. It is a drug, I guess, but it'd be a poison then, wouldn't it?
It all depends on, I would guess, the dosing of it and how it's supposed to be. It's one of those things where if you have a pill, like the one day we were at my parents' and it's like, well, the pill
cocaine kills too if you're a fat dude from Chicago, but
well, and let's remember you can't like cut every pill in half just to take a half. If it's not if it is an extended release thing and you cut it in half, you might be ODing because you're you're breaking down the mechanism which is in place to keep it from dissolving and getting into your bloodstream as quick.
That's a good point, although it's not completely true, but it is nonetheless a good warning to people. The extended release doesn't generally rely on the coating. The coating, though, does protect the pill from being absorbed in your stomach, so it's only absorbed in your gut.
The more you know. This is an educational show.
Well, I think we've hit just about all the check marks there for the bingo card today.
But every now and then when somebody doesn't have blue cheese and they give you ranch, regular ranch, I will kind of power through. But like the fat-free, sugar-free, whatever it is, that is like that stuff is like drinking bile. It is.
One dressing I used to enjoy occasionally was poppy seed.
Yeah, I haven't had. Well, it's there was a poppy seed. I think that Olive Garden put out a dressing that was really good.
Yeah, it's like the poppy seeds are incidental to it. It's not made of poppy seeds. They're just some inside of there. But that's generally what they're. But it's sort of it has the sweetness of Thousand Island, but not the ketchup in it. So it's one of the sort of sweeter tartar dressings, I think. I used to enjoy it. I don't buy it anymore. I don't buy many dressings, but I do have blue cheese on a regular basis because what else do you use blue cheese dressing with? Steak.
Yeah, well, you can do a nice coating on there.
Mm-hmm.
Blue cheese is good. Get a little garlic.
Good for dipping steak in, man.
Well, blue cheese is good for everything.
Speaking of steak, so I went to Fogo yesterday.
Oh, what'd you have?
Which is why I'm looking at chicken today. I had steak yesterday. What didn't I have?
Right. How many pounds of blue cheese were consumed?
Well, there's no blue cheese, but there was many pounds of meat. That's for sure. Yeah, I was putting the meat away yesterday. Good stuff.
Well, there's another cold opener.
Love that meat. So yeah, just met up with a buddy that I hadn't seen in years, and we we didn't decide to go there. I decided to go there because it's close for me.
And he was paying?
No, and I was paying, actually.
No. Well, that's the better way to go.
I usually go to lunch with people that are paying, so I usually kind of work that in. But this time around, it's been long enough, and I kind of blew off the last time we were going to get together. So I said up front, I'm like, yeah, I'll take you out to lunch. But yeah, Fogo's always good. And I like the filet there. It's not as good as filet in other places, obviously, but it's still a filet, better cut of meat than most of the other ones. But one of the other things I like there, which some of my friends make fun of me for.
That's hard to believe.
I know. I actually really like their bacon wrapped chicken.
So you go, oh yeah, well, that's not that you like the bacon wrapped
don't
chicken.
Load up on that shit. It's super cheap. You're paying like $50 a head. Why would you eat chicken?
It's going to a steakhouse and ordering a salad. I mean, that's where you're getting.
I get it, but it tastes really good.
Well, anything tastes good wrapped in bacon.
Yeah. Well, cooked in bacon. Yeah, because you take the bacon off before you eat it. But yeah, it's they do a very good job of making things that aren't steak taste really good, so you consume less steak.
But they're like, we're famous for our steak.
Have you tried their salad bar?
No.
Holy shit, it's the best salad bar. You've never been to their salad bar?
I've never been to the Fogo.
How could you have never been to a Fogo? There's a Fogo in Chicago.
Yeah, but that could probably do it because it's in Chicago.
Go. Do it.
Is there one in Oak Brook?
You can't not go to Fogo. There's usually only one or two in the city. But their salad bar is probably the best tasting salad bar you'll ever see in any restaurant.
I mean, better than, what was it called? The Old Country Buffet. Remember those?
Yeah, it's better than Old Country Buffet. We still have those.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. It is excellent food, exceptional food. But again, it's sort of like, well, do you want to take away from eating the steak by eating salad?
You're like,
because they know if their salad is really good tasting and more people eat their salad, they're not going to eat as much steak and they're paying a flat price.
Yeah, we've got them in Oak Brook, Rosemont, Chicago, and yeah.
Okay, good. So you got a few choices there.
Yeah, Oak Brook would be the one.
You should go.
We'll just put it on Gene's gold card.
You put it on whatever you want, but you should definitely go. It's a place that if you've never experienced unlimited meat,
I love unlimited meat.
I know you do. That's why I'm telling you. You should go. If anyone hasn't gone to a churrascaria or Brazilian steakhouse, yeah, really should. And Fogo is probably the biggest chain in the U.S., but there are others.
Net is throwing down. He says Texas de Brazil's steak.
Tejas de Brazil
salad bars.
Yeah,
better.
we have those here as well. They're pretty comparable. I kind of feel like the service at Fogo is a little better.
Let's see. We'd want to start with the Seafood Tower for $109 for 440 calories. That is interesting.
You want to start with steak. So who was it that suggested Tejas de Brazil?
Net.
So Net, do they? I can't remember off the top of my head. So reminded me. Does that one also have the little bread thingies, the little cheesy breads?
Little bread thingies.
They're so good. It's bread that tastes like it's got cheese, but it has no actual cheese in it.
Interesting. He does say that the service at Fogo is very much better.
Yeah, there you go.
But let's see. This is a table side service, $63.50 a person.
Ask him where he lives.
He's out in or right around D-fucking Detroit.
In D-fucking Detroit, they have Fogo. Wow, that's very cool.
You're like, surprise, it's still open.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, the thing that's crazy to me is how Fogo stayed open during COVID, because I was literally the only guy in Austin still going to eat lunch there. Nobody else did.
Now, did you add an indulgent cut? I mean, if you want to add the Wagyu ancho ribeye, that's an extra $150.
Yeah.
Size to share for 4 or more. And Gene's like, fuck you. That's for me, baby.
Yeah, no. I'm not a big ribeye guy, man. I'll eat it if there's nothing else and it's put in front of me, but it's too much work.
Okay, wait. What is a cauliflower steak? Is that actually a steak made of cauliflower?
Yeah.
For $39?
Yeah.
Man, they saw you coming if you get that one.
Uh-huh.
A roasted veggie power bowl.
Dude, you're looking at the menu. There is no menu there. You just go there and
you just walk in and say, give me what Gene eats.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Brazilian lemonade. Ooh.
Don't look at any of that shit. Just, you go there, you just get the regular meal. It's all fixed price. And believe me, a guy like you walks in, they're going to lose money.
They're like, oh my God. We got a problem.
Your 4th steak in, you'll be so far ahead of the curve that by your 10th one, they will go bankrupt.
When do I flatline? When do I go, the Bears?
And when you go, the Bears, as soon as you walk in. And nobody will say anything because they're looking around going, what the fuck? Because they're not old enough to have seen that skit.
Crispy pork belly.
What we're referring to people, if you're not old enough to have seen that, is a very old Saturday Night Live skit with, was it Chris Farley or who was doing that one?
Yeah, I think that was Farley and Goodman.
Yeah, John Goodman, that's right. Back before he lost weight, and Chris Farley back before he died.
Yeah. Warm paio de queso, that's the cheesy bread.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yes.
Caramelized bananas. Now that sounds good too.
I love those things. They're so bad for you calorically, but they're so good.
You're like, caramelized bananas. I mean, what?
They're fried bananas. They're fried bananas. They're Maduros.
So you freeze them and then fry them?
No, you don't freeze them. You just fry them. Very, very good. And I first started eating. They were actually Maduro plantains. They weren't bananas. They use bananas here, but down in Brazil, they actually use plantains for that.
Yeah, my safe word is banana, unless we're using actual bananas, and then it's plantain.
I see. Okay, good. Well, you're going to get both those words into your mouth.
Yes.
I know how much you love having stuff like that in your mouth.
So many cold openers. This show is a cornucopia of great lines. Now, if they just came in the right order, it would be a great show, but sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And it's not in Detroit. So the Fugo is in Torrey on the border of Birmingham, Michigan.
So, I've never been to Detroit. The furthest south that I've ever been in Michigan is Charlevoix.
God bless you.
No, that's the name of the city. It's a cute, quaint little sailing village.
Cotton Gin says, now you're just trying too hard for ISOs. If only that were true.
Right? No one ISOs this shit, man. There's nothing to try.
Hey, they ISO this shit all the time in the troll room now that there's a bot.
They don't. They totally don't.
No, you can see them. There's a bot.
No, I can't. I totally can't.
Go into the troll room. And because now all you have to do.
I totally can't. I'm permabanned for life.
All you have to do is start a sentence with ISO and then give the keyword. So like right there, if they go ISO keyword, that sentence will be shown. It'll give you an MP3. You can download it right in the troll room.
No, they don't.
Yeah, it's great.
No.
This is great technology.
No, they can't.
Putting it to good use.
Mm-hmm.
To go over to Foco.
I think I'm done. I'm going to get some food. So
enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Don't play too many video games. Take a little break. We don't want to see like one of these guys that goes on
man,
like a
95 hours a week is just the right amount of video gaming.
But don't do like a 72-hour bender just pounding the balls and not sleeping because your heart will eventually explode.
Well, I'll leave that up to you.
Or is that what you're hoping for?
The pounding the balls and all.
Hey, if you can't pound some balls, what country are you living in?